Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I am Chris.
And welcome back to Star Wars Storytime.
Yay!
You might notice that we're not in our usual configuration. It's because there's a plague and the world is burning. So we've decided to stay in our own houses. Actually, the world's not burning, but we have been cautioned very carefully to socially distance ourselves from one another. And Chris and I are fairly antisocial anyway. So here we are. So as I said, we're doing Star Wars Storytime, our favorite, I don't know, we call this segment where we talk about our favorite comics and Star Wars stories. This week we're doing The Rise of Kylo Ren, number 4, The Sins of the Sun by Charles Soule.
Dun dun dun!
Yeah, it's the epic conclusion of this extremely epic 4-issue run detailing Ben
exactly
Solo's...
why Kylo Ren is such a dick.
Before we get any further into that, you're going to see some images and videos that we did not produce or create at all. Our buddy over at Star Wars Comics Story did. And you should go check him out because he is, I mean, like, this issue came out on
Wednesday.
Comics
come out on Wednesdays.
Yeah, this was up on his channel Wednesday afternoon. So, like... He's really on top of getting new comics up. It's really cool. So go check him out. Tell him Jedi Enclave sent you. You'll probably be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
And follow him if you haven't already.
Yeah.
He's really good at what he does.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So let's do like a previously on The Rise of Kylo Ren. Luke's Jedi Academy has been destroyed. Most, if not all of it, was a huge misunderstanding. You know, Kylo thought that. Or Ben thought that, you know, Luke was going to kill him. Ben didn't destroy the Jedi Temple. Some mysterious force magic, probably Palpatine, did it.
Or Snoke.
Yeah. By proxy. And so Ben, I had to stop calling him Kylo until I was actually Kylo, panics and runs. And then a few
He's pursued by 3 Jedi students who all think that he burned down the temple and killed Luke.
Right. Along the journey, one of those Jedi students is killed, again by misunderstanding that Ben didn't do, but the 2 surviving Jedi think that Ben does. Snoke tells Ben to go find the Knights of Ren, that they can help him, like, find himself or whatever. He finds them in a bar, because they hang out at bars, and he's like, "Hey, you guys seem pretty fucking rad. Let's hang out." And they're like, "Well, I mean... we're rad, so we don't just take anybody." And
if you want to hang out with us, you got to kill someone.
Yeah, and
you got to make it good.
Yeah, it's got to be a good death. It's a death that you want. Like, you have to want to kill someone, and you do it because we're the Knights of Ren, and we do what we want. They're all very scene about it. They're all very emo. Like, they're posers, and you know this because they have a head-to-head with Luke Skywalker. The entire Knights of Ren have a head-to-head with Luke Skywalker way in the past. And you discover that they're little bitches, and Luke Skywalker kicked the fuck out of them. Ben finds him at the bar. He tells him a little bit about this Jedi that accidentally died, and Ren's like, "That ain't a good death, man. But, you know, I'm in a good mood. I'm not going to kill you where you stand, because that's what we do, because we're so fucking emo. We kill people where they stand. You can hang out with us a little bit while we go burn, you know, rape and pillage everything." And
we'll give you some snazzy black clothes.
Yeah, all leather black clothes. Is that cool with you? And Ben's like, "Well, I don't know about the killing, but okay." I literally have nowhere else to go, so might as well.
Yeah.
This leads us to the last issue, right? They're on a moon of Minban, which I don't know did you recognize the name there? It's from Solo: A Star Wars Story.
I heard it at some point in Star Wars, but I don't know exactly what significance it has.
Yeah, it was in Solo: A Star Wars Story where he's a stormtrooper on that mud planet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Minban. So anyway, they're out there. The Knights of Ren are terrorizing people like they do. They're trying to find something, right? And Ren is interrogating a group of them. He is going to kill one of them who knows where the thing is. The thing. Trademark.
The thing. Yeah.
And Ben's like, "You don't have to kill him. There's another way." And Ren's like, "Oh, well, I wanted to kill him." And he's like, "Well, no, really, watch this." And he does like that mind invade thing, like he does on Rey in Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
And he discovers that the artifact that they're looking for is in a lower level of where they already are, right? And what's really, Ren's like, so where'd you learn that? That's pretty cool. He's like, it's a modified Jedi mind trick. Snoke taught it to me. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, we don't know how to do that. So good for you.
That's neat. Yeah.
And so he's like, hey, Knights of Ren, remember when we said we'd release this guy? And they all look at him and they're like, yeah. He's like, release him. And they kill him all. Mm-hmm. And Ben's like, the fuck? Like, you said you were going to let them live. And Ren's like,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I said I was going to release them. They're being released from their mortal coils.
Yeah, it's which a little cliche, by the way. Ben's pretty upset about that because he's still kind of green. He's a little wet behind the ears still. He does not at all like the whole killing and raping and pillaging thing. Mm-hmm. It says right around here where Snoke like force Skypes to him, and he's like, "Hey, the Jedi were a little strict with the rules, don't you think?" And Ben's like, I mean, I guess it was never a problem for me, but whatever. And he's like, well, they were, and this is your problem: is that you're bound by these old rules, and those old, no one understood you when they made these rules, and blah blah blah. He's more or less grooming him like, honestly, a child molester would groom a kid. Like I've avoided saying that like the entire time we've read these, but it's a lot like that, where he's hyper manipulative. He tells him exactly what he wants to hear, and he's preying on him. It's really fucking creepy.
It's kind of exactly what you would expect from a powerful dark side person. Like, that is just like that complete lack of regard for the other person's well-being, so long as you can get them on your side and get them to do what you want them to do. That's just like dark side 101.
Yeah, and that's the part of me where it doesn't become hard for me to imagine Palpatine as a person pulling the strings, because that's something he would do, and it's something he has done before.
Yeah.
So at least there, that part of the Palpatine is back thing connects for me, Mm-hmm. So it turns out they're trying to find a mind splitter, and you might be asking, well, do we ever find what the mind splitter is? And the answer is no, we don't. It doesn't matter. But that's what they're there for. So they're met with resistance, a giant group of people who ever lived there who are guarding this thing. And Ren's like, hey, Knights, go kill these guys. Like, they don't know how to fight. This is a fight we can win, and we only fight people that we know are weaker than us. And that also kind of upsets Ben a little bit. He doesn't like. He just does not like the killing thing. And like you kind of see Ren like looking at Ben like, oh shit, maybe he's not exactly what I thought he was.
Yeah. So
right around in here, Vo and Tai, who are the two Jedi, the surviving Jedi that are chasing him, arrive. Tai, the boy, is telepathic in a lot of regards, and was able to work out where Ben was going the last time they met. So they show up, and they are in that moment, in the truest sense, the perfect Jedi. Like, both of them are. They're like, we have to protect these people, we have to save Ben, and we have to kill the Knights of Ren. Like, this is exactly what Luke Skywalker would do, and they're like, okay, we can do this.
It's kind of an interesting juxtaposition between those two, who show up and just immediately launch, like, they know what they need to do. They launch into action to save the people and do the good thing. And Ben, who's like paralyzed by indecision, he's like half still believing in the light side that all this killing is like really bad, and half, I like, the light side won't take me. I've done seriously bad shit, or at least I think I've done seriously bad shit. And so he doesn't know what to do, whereas the other Jedi just do. Like, everyone around him is already moving, and he's just kind of standing there trying to figure out what to do. And
so they decide Vo is gonna stay with the innocents and protect them, and Tai is gonna go after Ben because he mentions this special connection that they have.
And I think that's a quality of them both just realizing that they have skills better suited to those things.
Yeah. Also, Vo really hates Ben, and Ben really hates Vo, so they should probably not be together.
But like, Vo is the better fighter, so it makes sense to put her up against the Knights of Ren and protect the people. Whereas Tai is his name, right?
Yeah.
The dude, he has that connection with Ben. He sees into Ben's head maybe a little better than Ben himself does.
Yeah.
So if anyone is going to pull him back from the dark side,
Yeah.
it's Ty.
Yeah, and they also care quite a bit for each other. You find out in the previous comic that they had a pretty special friendship where they because Ty's kind of weird. He's like the weird quiet kid, and they kind of understand each other. Ren goes to kill one of these innocents, and Vo like jumps right in with her lightsaber, and she's like, "I'm gonna fuck you up." And so far, all Ren knows about her is what Ben's told her, which is she's not as good as Ben. And so Ren thinks, oh, she'll probably be easy to kill. She's like one of those, like, weaker than me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've heard about you. Ben told me all about you. You're a fucking wannabe, and I'm gonna kick your ass. And Vo's like, you didn't really hear everything about me because I'm not like you. I'm not weak. Like, I don't only prey on people weaker than me. I am strong. And he's kind of like, what made you strong? And she's like, motherfucker, Luke Skywalker taught me everything. And he's like, oh shit, I remember that guy.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, like oh god. So he's like, fine, we'll fight. Meanwhile, Ty catches up to Ben. And there's a little bit of dialogue, but immediately lightsabers are drawn. I think Ben probably feels a little bit like he's been backed into a corner, and it's by someone he really cares about, so he doesn't really know what to do. He knows that he has this obligation to the Knights of Ren to prove himself, and so he's probably thinking about his prospects, like, what do I have to do to be accepted by these guys, or do I even want to be accepted by them?
Yeah.
So they talk a little bit, they fight. Ty tries very hard to bring him back, and he makes the emotional plea in a really good way, where he kind of calls back to everything he knows about him, and the fact that it feels like a private conversation that they're having, instead of Ty trying to talk him down so you can like take him in or something. Ty is legitimately trying to be like, man, you this is not you. He's like, you can choose who you are. And Ben's like, I've been pulled in every direction since I was born. Like, Luke Skywalker has pulled me, my father's pulled me the other way. Snoke, since I was a baby, which is super fucking creepy, has been pulling me the other way. And he's like, I have never had a choice about who I am. It doesn't matter who it is, Luke or Snoke. I've only been a legacy to these people. Like, that's all I've ever been. And it becomes like Charles Soule has done this amazing feat of writing Ben Solo in a sympathetic way up to this point. And when you hear that, because I love Luke Skywalker, but like, he made a mistake with Ben, and he even talks about it in The Last Jedi. He's like, is that mighty Skywalker blood? I had to turn him into something great. And I don't think what he realized in the moment was that that was an impossible expectation of a kid. Because that's what he is. Even still in these comics, he's just a kid. Like, that's all he is. And so that's something I really kind of liked about that, was that they didn't half-ass the storytelling with Ben to where I'd be like, oh, whatever, he's a fucking bad guy, kill him. I'm like, oh man, this could have been solved with a conversation earlier on, if they just would have learned how to communicate with, like, Luke and Ben would have learned how to communicate with each other. Like, this could have been avoided.
So there's a couple big things here. Number one is that an argument against that is that Luke was about Ben's age now when he blew up the first Death Star, which tends to imply that, you can still do great things as a Skywalker, even very young. But on the other side of that is that all of that was Luke's choice, or at least something that he was driven to from his own circumstances rather than other people's expectations. Like, he went with Obi-Wan, one, because he didn't have anywhere else to go on Tatooine, but also because he wanted to.
Because he thought his sister was hot.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it. He saw the hologram. Yeah. He's like, damn, like, let's go save her. Yeah, and he's like Obi-Wan's like, not what you think. Wait a minute.
Yeah. But like, every step of the way, Luke was making choices that he wanted to, that doing things that like his way,
Hmm.
and trying to impart that on your own nephew, like those same level of expectations, is not fair, and it's not going to produce a well balanced, effective Jedi, I
Yeah, no,
guess.
I agree. It's something that I mean, I guess it's the age old debate about Luke Skywalker, and about how he was portrayed in The Last Jedi, but he failed, like he really
Hmm.
did, and it was a big failure that cost a lot of lives, and um, like this story even helps us to see Luke Skywalker's state of mind after all this happens, and of course he was like, I have to remove myself from everything. I can't make this mistake again. Like this is all my fault. Like of course he's gonna like this. This makes his exile make even more sense to me. That he would have failed this hard on like someone he loved or whatever.
Hmm.
So their lightsaber fight makes it away like to this like little bridge over like lava or something. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
It's yeah big. Like there's always this one fight on our bridge over lava. That's where they are.
It's got to be
Um,
very dramatic.
Yeah. Um, and Ty like is like, look, we can team up right now, and we can go and kill the Knights of Ren. You alone could do it. Like you and I could definitely do it, and we can make all of this right. And Ben has this moment, where he like. I should also mention he has disarmed Ty at this point, right? So he doesn't have a lightsaber. Which means that things have cooled down a little bit. There isn't any immediate like sense of someone's going to get their head chopped off. And they're having this conversation, and Ben has this moment of like, maybe you're right. Like, maybe this is like I can still fix this.
Maybe I finally have a choice.
As Ben is having this moment where he's doubting himself, he's doubting everything. Ty's neck just snaps. And
Oh,
Ben's like,
what the fuck?
yeah, he's like, oh, I didn't do that, I hope. And he turns around and it's Ren. He somehow has escaped from Vo, from their fight. Ren is like, you were going to switch sides. And Ben's like, I don't know. And he's like, all right, I'm going to kill you now. Cause like I've given you several chances to prove yourself. You are weak.
It is pretty obvious Snoke was wrong about you, kid.
Yeah. Ben is just standing there like, you killed my friend. He just fucking snaps. He attacks Ren, and they fight, and there's a really awesome moment where like Ren's like, dude, you're such a fucking poser. You don't want to live in the shadows like us. And Ben Solo's like, bro, I am the shadow. And then just rains hell down on him, and like Ren is pretty fucked. There's if Vo could beat him in a lightsaber fight, Ben Solo was going to do much nastier things to him. While all this is happening, somewhere else in the galaxy, a old, disgusting, half-rotten Palpatine is smiling because he senses the conflict. He knows exactly the things that he's put into motion are starting to work. He's speaking to Ben through Snoke, and he's telling him all these things about how like this is, everything has come to this. They made you do this. This isn't your fault. Somewhere else in the galaxy, his mother feels it, and she knows exactly what's happening. Because I mean, they also shared a really special connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then somewhere else in the galaxy, on a little planet called Jakku, a young Rey feels it. Just seeing the story unfold and seeing that one panel in this comic book sold the dyad thing to me more than anything in Rise of Skywalker. Palpatine, he's like, through Snoke, is like, you've got a birthright now. You better fucking claim it. And Ben kills Ren. If you were to put a pinpoint in history on the time when Ben Solo turned to the dark side, it was right there.
Yeah.
And so he's done with Ren. He goes back to where Vo was and she has been disarmed or something. I think she's like fighting a whole bunch of people. I can't exactly remember what happened, but she lost her lightsaber.
I think she was fighting the other Knights of Ren.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, she's kind of like laying out. She's sitting on the floor. She's fine. She's not mortally wounded or anything. and she sits up, and she has this moment where she tries to talk some sense into him, but Ben just doesn't have it, and he just kills her in cold blood. And you're like, oh shit, you're not Ben Solo anymore. Like, someone completely different walked out. So the Knights of Ren, of course, are standing there like, where's Ren? And he's like, fuck you, I killed him. And they're like, you are our leader now. And they all kind of like, they're like, we accept you, please. Our overlord, please tell us what to do next.
So early on, the Ren said, we follow the Ren. He holds up his lightsaber. Well, Ben's the one with the lightsaber now, so I guess he's the Ren.
Yeah. So a little bit later on, they didn't really say how long, but we switched to this panel where a very shirtless Kylo Ren, by the way, has his kyber crystal from his lightsaber, and he bleeds it, which is a like a new canon thing that they introduced in one of the Vader comics, which is taking a pre-existing kyber crystal from a Jedi and pouring like all of your hate and your despair and all of your like bad guy emotions into it, and it turns it red, and that's how the Sith have their red lightsabers. So he bleeds his kyber crystal, and he kind of accepts the mantle as Kylo Ren.
He also like tries to put in his lightsaber and turn on, and it like shorts out or something. So then he has to make all the adjustments to put like the crossguard hilt on it, and then it works.
Yeah, you're right. Which also that's that makes me wonder. So the crossguards, like, is that because he thought they look cool, or is it because like he needed to make an adjustment so that there was an exhaust or something so that it would turn on, or like
I think it's practical on two levels. Like it seems like those needed to vent something so that the whole thing would work, but but like there's also, I think during his fight against Finn on Starkiller Base, like he uses the crossguard to like poke into his shoulder or something.
Oh well, he uses the crossguard in every single movie.
So one thing this whole comic series did that I really like is that it shows that Ben didn't just like flip a switch one day and decide to become evil. Like he was driven to it every step of the way. First, Snoke burns down the temple, then Snoke
and convinces him it was him, I presume.
Yeah, but like from the moment he was born, Snoke was trying to pull Ben to the dark side, and they sent him to the Knights of Ren to set up this dangerous, precarious situation where he wouldn't feel safe at all. And then like Ren himself killing Ty, that was what flipped the switch, but everything in his life leading up to this moment was setting that up. And I think it's a really good parallel to the prequels and Anakin, seeing the way Palpatine was getting his hooks in very early and trying to pull him. And like the confrontation in Palpatine's apartment was, again, what turned Anakin into Darth Vader. But like to set that up, you needed everything that came before it.
Yeah, it wasn't very hard to kind of nudge him right over the edge. Like he was already more or less there.
Yes. In both cases, both were pulled as close to the dark side as they could possibly be before they made their decision that sent them over.
So what you should do, if you're listening, first of all, is wash your hands a lot. Distance yourselves from your friends and your bars and your places of gathering. I know that not everyone should, or not everyone can stop working, for example. That's not how our world works, and it's really too bad that it doesn't work that way. That there isn't a safety net in place for people that work 9 to 5 jobs to be able to take care of yourself like that. But try to take care of yourself as much as possible. Be safe. Hopefully this whole COVID-14 thing will be
19, 18?
Is it 19? I thought it was 19. I don't know. Coronavirus.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's hopefully it's a thing that we won't have to deal with very much, and who knows. Anyway, take care of yourself. It's a great opportunity to catch up on all of your YouTube videos, though. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video, comment, tell us what you thought about this. Actually, go and watch this on Star Wars Comic Stories first, and then come back and tell us what you thought of it. And if you've read a Star Wars comic or novel or book that we haven't done yet, and suggest it, and we would be happy to look at that, because we both like reading crazy Star Wars shit, even the bad things. Like I don't care. I'll read any of it, and we'll talk about it. So, guys, really, we do it for you. we know we're all crazy. Like we're all crazy right now. Like that's literally the state of the world. And we are happy that you are here right now watching this. So, let us know what's happening with you, and we'll see you on the next video.